What's up, guys? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I'm back with something a little bit different. I guess I'm not back, I'm here for the first time, but what is Waterdeep Dragon Heist? If you're unfamiliar, or this is new to you, or you've seen it making its way around Twitter or social media, this is the brand new adventure module that's going to be released by Wizards of the Coast later this year. It was just announced yesterday on the Stream of Many Eyes, which is an all-weekend long Dungeons & Dragons streaming spectacular that took place last night, takes place all day today and all day tomorrow, where they're going to be streaming things basically focused in the city of Waterdeep in honor of this game. There's going to be a lot of your favorite people. Last night we saw Dice Camera Action and Force Grey Giant Hunters. We're going to see things like Sirens of the Realms and Girls Guts Glory, and I think a couple of new shows like Rivals of Waterdeep today. Then tomorrow we're going to see some folks from Critical Role. We're going to see Jox Machina. It's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on. So, but you may be wondering, what is this? And the reason that I'm going to tell you what it is I basically live tweeted this yesterday as reveals came out, and it got a ton of publicity from a lot of people that I never thought would be chiming in on things. Like Luke Gygax, son of Gary Gygax, is retweeting my tweets about this module. So I'm just going to go through what I tweeted out, basically, and kind of sum it all up and show you guys a couple of the products. So there will be a link in the description to my Twitter account, to the Twitter post if you want to read it, but I'm basically going to read it to you. And there's also going to be a link to this, which, if you guys are unfamiliar, you can go to the products page right here on Wizards of the Coast, that's dnd.wizards.com, to see all of that. And actually, this answers a question, adventures for levels 1 to 5. We're going to get to that. But basically, you can see it right here, the release date, a little blurb about it, and some art and things like that. So you can view this. So we're going to come back to that. But basically, I'm just going to read this off to you, stuff that they had said. So people that were commenting on this were Mike Merles, Kate Welch, Jeremy Crawford, and Chris Perkins. So people that were behind it. So it's called Waterdeep Dragon Heist. When you see Dragon Heist, you may be like, oh, cool, dragon. That's not what that means. The gold coins of Waterdeep are called dragons. So you have gold, silver, platinum, copper, etc., all the different coinage in Dungeons & Dragons, and in lots of different areas of the Forgotten Realms and other universes, they have a name. Just like we might have dollars, you might call a dollar bill something else. You might, a quarter. You have different names for different currency in different areas. So, dragons are the currency of Waterdeep, the gold coin. So that's what this is about. You can guess by the name. It is a heist-based adventure, and I'll dive a little bit more into that. So Chris Perkins did call this an urban romp and a toolbox-like adventure set in Waterdeep. What they mean, and a big focus on this is Dungeons & Dragons in civilization. A lot of the pre-written things that we've seen send you to the far reaches, down to Chult, to the far north, all over the place to deal with these world-ending epic adventures that take you to the fringes of society. This takes you to the heart of basically the Manhattan of Dungeons & Dragons and the Forgotten Realms is Waterdeep. So an urban romp and a toolbox-like adventure, not a world-shattering event, heavily inspired by heist films like Ocean's 11 or The Italian Job. So they basically have said that it's going to give you a ton of information, maps of Waterdeep, that kind of stuff, to really expand it. But basically what you guys are trying to do is stop the bad guys from getting all of this treasure. Now, whether that's because you want the treasure for yourself, because you're a greedy type character, or just because you're trying to do the right thing of preventing the bad guys from getting the treasure. He went on to say that it's created to be a replayable adventure in that there are 4 major villain options, and the DM chooses that villain at the start. So you could play through this adventure, theoretically, 4 times with the same group and have an entirely different experience. It's also designed to be a heavily roleplay focused adventure because you're spending a lot of your time in the town, and you need to think about how you're going to utilize your abilities in that town. Because, for instance, like a ranger and a barbarian are keyed more to wilderness and out and about. Even things like wizards slinging fireballs, you're in the city. Things get noticed. There's a heavy focus on, that's why it's a heist-based adventure, right? You don't want to alert the guards or the walking statues of Waterdeep. And they also said that the seasons play a big part in this. So, I don't know if it's broken down exactly like this, but let's say one of the villains may be tied to springtime. So you'll have to deal with springtime-related environmental effects. Or if it's a wintertime theme, you have to deal with ice and snow and things of that nature. And Downtime is built into the game. This is the first adventure they've done where the downtime mechanics are part of the adventure itself. They go on later to state that the Xanathar's Guide downtime that we saw is baked into this adventure. So it's designed that you'll have time where you won't be doing things, so you can work on training, you can learn skills, you could build a tavern, whatever the case may be. They did say there's a chance, basically, if you do the intro adventure, to gain a piece of land or a parcel of land. In the beginning, they were calling it a home base or a house. Later on, they allude to a bunch of different times talking about a tavern. So my assumption based on that is that you're going to be able to basically own a tavern in Waterdeep, because both Kate Welch and Jeremy Crawford went on to say, we're very interested to see how, if your group plays with another group, how the different groups' taverns will look. How will you decorate your tavern? How will you outfit it? What kind of drinks? What kind of security? So I believe that you will earn a tavern that is your own tavern that you can build out, and it kind of gives you that base. And there's nothing to say you can't expand this adventure beyond and continue the storyline. Now you have a place to go. Confirmed, as you may have seen in the art, which I'll go back to here, the main art. If I can pull it up here. I'll grab it from the front here. If you look at the art, confirmed that Xanathar and Jarlaxle will both be in the adventure. You can kind of see, if you missed it, this is the Xanathar in the background. My cursor's not showing up, but basically in the background there, you can see the little eyes. That is the Xanathar, as in of Xanathar's Guide to Everything, the Beholder Crime Lord of Waterdeep. And the drow with the cap and the feather is Jarlaxle of Drizzt novels fame. He is the leader of Brigandierth, a group of drow mercenaries who forays to the surface, and basically a ragtag group of rebels who don't want to follow in the drow matriarchal system. Jarlaxle is old, he is very powerful, he's a procurer of many, many magic items, and you'll never really ever get an understanding of who he is or what he's doing. He usually is like 6 steps ahead of everyone. So they are both going to be in the adventure and play a part. Whether they're the villains or not, I don't know. And again, as I stated, the downtime mechanics in Xanathar's will be embedded into the adventure. The chase rules, if you don't know, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, there's a set of rules for a chase scene. Those are going to be incorporated into this adventure, as well as expanded upon to use Waterdavian-themed events. So all of that stuff expanded upon, and again, there's nothing saying you can't pull this from Waterdeep and put this in your city, in your adventure, your homebrew game, but they're going to make it bigger and better and utilize that. There are going to be new magic items, as with a new adventure, but they go on to say that there will be, and I quote, storied items of the Forgotten Realms history, with stat blocks for them, like things like the Blackstaff of Kelvin Blackstaff, or whoever that, I think is Laurel Silverhand, whoever is the new Blackstaff of Blackstaff Tower in Waterdeep. If you don't know, this is the major wizard's tower in Waterdeep. This is the legendary item that gives that position its name. That's going to have a stat block, as well as, I'm sure, other things. And they also say famous NPC stat blocks will be contained in this adventure as well. I'm assuming like the Blackstaff, possibly like Jarlaxle, the Xanathar. They mentioned that Volo is going to play a big point in this, to the point where there's a chapter that is a walking tour of Waterdeep, but written as though from Volo's perspective. I believe Matt Cerna is the one who penned that, so that's going to be in there. It's also designed, they got a lot of feedback that some players like to want to play an adventure that they can just play and get through, where a lot of these things like Curse of Strahd or Tomb of Annihilation are long, lengthy, epic adventures that take a long time to get through. To resolve them, it takes months, sometimes years, depending on the frequency of your meeting. So they designed this to be a concise adventure that you can complete relatively quickly in a couple of months, but it's also designed, and they use the term accordion, to expand it out. If the DM wants to expand it, you can increase the length of this adventure as needed. You could play through the story beats and just be done, but depending on how you want to utilize the downtime and things like that, that will allow you to increase the length of the adventure to fit your needs. The Adventurers League, they said they basically crammed Waterdeep Dragon Heist with so much stuff. There was obviously a lot of stuff that spilled over that they could not fit into the adventure. So they said Adventurer League adventures are going to use, and I quote from Chris Perkins, a very important Waterdavian NPC that they really wanted to put in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, but they couldn't fit him. So that character, or him or her, I don't know, That character is going to feature prominently in the Adventure League season that coincides with this book. And he said that it's very exciting, and he says it may be one of the best Dungeons & Dragons Forgotten Realms experience you will ever have. So that's a big, lofty statement, so keep that in mind. Chris Perkins said he would be tweeting out art from the book, so that's probably already out. We can look at that towards the end, but confirmed there will be a Lantanese submarine, so there will be a submarine contained in this. Lantanese, I know, is a section and a language in the Forgotten Realms, but I'm not too familiar, so I can't really speak to that. Again, I went on to tweet that they mentioned that how you'll decorate your tavern, so I'm assuming that piece of property is a tavern. Side quests with the various factions of the realms, things like Order of the Gauntlet, the Harpers. They also said in various guilds contained in the city as well that you can curry favor with, build renown, and they'll help you out in certain things with what you're doing in Waterdeep. And they've made a ton of factions and guilds. They incorporated a bunch of them to basically, you're in a city of Waterdeep, but this is a metropolitan is the word I was looking for, city. So it covers a lot of bases, but this should cover any party composition. If you want to have a party of all drow or otherwise, that's an option that you have because there are factions that would help you out. They quote a perfect backdrop for DM improv. It's designed to be self-contained in a neutral Waterdeep that you can skin it as you need as the DM later and make your Waterdeep your own. They use the City System box set as a major inspiration, and if you need additional resources as the Dungeon Master, this would be an option for you, specifically for the tables contained in it. They use the city as a character a lot to kind of reference that this is something that you could do, try to treat Waterdeep as a character. It's evolving, it's ever-changing. And Chris Perkins said it includes a, quote, big-ass poster map of Waterdeep, including street names, temple locations, etc. They did leave some stuff unnamed, though, so the DMs can choose to name it as they wish. And it is releasing on September 6th in game stores everywhere, September 18th. And they kept describing it as Gangs of New York meets Dan Brown was their description for that. And I'll just scroll through. We saw the confirmed levels 1 to 5. There on the website. The text at the bottom, if you can't read it down here, let me go here. The text down the bottom, at the bottom of the book, says, a splendid treasure trove is yours for the taking in this adventure for the world's greatest role-playing game. And I think that's pretty much it, guys, for the things that were said. I think it was Shauna Narciso did the art for the front cover. Now we're going to jump back to take a look at it. So people are thinking, they're like, look, Thanos is everywhere this year. You can see this guy with his gauntlet down the bottom. My assumption based on the cover is that these 4 characters, I'm assuming those twin characters are one villain. That looks like Jarlaxle, we said, and Xanathar. I'm wondering if those are 3 of the 4 villains. And if I had to warrant my guess for who that bottom character is, I'm going to go with Artemis Entreri, and that's the claw that allows him to hold Karen's claw. If you're not familiar, this is the main villain from the Legend of Drizzt series. Things change throughout that. I'm not going to go into it. There's 30-some-odd books if you want to read it, but that's my guess, is that those are the 4 villains. It says right here, famed explorer Voltham Gedarm needs you to complete a simple side quest. Thus begins a mad romp through the wards of Waterdeep as you uncover a villainous plot, including some of the city's most influential figures. A grand urban caper awaits you. Pit your skill and bravado against villains, the likes of which you've never faced before, and let the dragon hunt begin. They also state that several of these characters in the book are like legendary characters, and you could try your hardest to kill them, but it's probably not going to go very well in your favor, especially if the adventure is designed for levels 1 to 5. I highly doubt, we can get a better look here at Thanos, as people are calling him. It looks like a human face, so I'm wondering if it is Artemis Entreri. And I'm not sure who the twins with the masquerade masks are. But, yeah, there's, again, stat blocks for major characters that you probably won't be able to take on. But you can certainly try. And it's $49.99, $95, the price of a standard hardcover. That will be available, usually cheaper, on Amazon later down the road. I'll be doing a giveaway of this when it comes out in September, so be on the lookout for that. And the last thing I wanted to draw you to is the Waterdeep Dragon Heist dice set. So If you are familiar, they did this for Tomb of Annihilation. They included a set of dice. They were kind of gross, really chalky feeling. They only included 1d20 when you roll with advantage and disadvantage. It seemed like a mistake, and people were upset about that, so they went and fixed it. So what do you get this time? You get 2d20s. One looks bigger and smaller, maybe for streaming folks. You get a bigger die. 1d12, we see. 2d10, interesting that they put both d10 as percentile here. I'm not sure if that was intentional. 1d8, 46 for rolling stats, 1d4, and they stole this directly from Magic, is a hit point tracking device designed to be similar to the spin down devices that you'd use if you're playing Magic the Gathering, or the new trackers that they use for life points and hit points. This is designed in such a way to be for tracking your D&D HP. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my quick little rundown of what is Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Be sure to stay tuned to the stream of Many Eyes to see more stuff coming out. Also, focus on the Nerd Immersion Twitter. I'll be tweeting out things as information becomes available as best I can. I am only one man, and I do have things going on, so I'll do my best to tweet what I can. And last but not least, I'll throw a link in the description, but I'm currently giving away 4 copies of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Each set comes with a 7 set of polyhedral dice available to you. You just need to do things like follow the Nerd Immersion YouTube and or subscribe to the Nerd Immersion YouTube and follow the Nerd Immersion Twitch, and then you can get a ton of other entries, and that goes for another week, and you'll be able to possibly win one of the copies of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. I have them right here, and I'll just show them off. It is 3 copies of the regular edition cover and 1 copy of the special gaming hobby store edition. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.